Hi, welcome back to Calm, Cohesion Across Literacy Models. I'm so glad that you're here. Calm sessions are designed to create space for clarity, for reflection, and for thoughtful conversation. This is not a space for debate. This is not a space for quick conclusions or even for choosing sides. It's a space to slow down, step away from the noise, and examine ideas with real intention. Across these sessions, we'll explore many complex topics about literacy and learning. The episodes are set up in series of 3, so each series will explore a particular topic in literacy. This series is episodes 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to explore the frameworks for teaching. Frameworks within the structured literacy model, and within balanced, comprehensive, and responsive literacy models. We're going to look at the different perspectives, where they come from, what they seem to prioritize, and how they shape practice and policy. The purpose isn't to tell you what to think or what to do, but to support our understandings about the positives in both of these models. We're also here to really be informed about decisions that we make because they really do rely on our context. We really need to understand the different aspects so that we can make really good positive decisions for our students as educators. So whether you're an educator, whether you're a school leader, a policy maker, a parent, these sessions are meant to meet you where you are. These sessions are meant to find cohesion, and they're meant to actually think about how we can be better at what we do if we understand and utilize the distinctions and the differences to best serve children. I want to talk about 2 instructional models, methods, perspectives in literacy that are often presented as oppositional. Rather than framing them as competing approaches, my goal is to highlight why understanding both models matters. Because teaching diverse learners requires a broad, thoughtful instructional toolkit. I'm not positioning myself as an expert in either perspective, nor am I advocating for one over the other. I'm speaking from my experience in classrooms, from what I have seen and learned to better understand how these models or views can inform instruction in complementary ways. So, we're going to take a look at structured literacy and what we're calling balanced, comprehensive, responsive literacy. Let's take a look at the foundational orientation of these models and how reading is understood in each. One widely discussed perspective, model, method is structured literacy, and it's often connected to the science of reading. This is an approach that is rooted in interdisciplinary research from fields such as cognitive science, linguistics, and neuroscience, primarily researched by Goff and Tunmer. Philip Goff is recognized as the foundational cognitive reading researcher, and he based his work in cognitive psychology and reading and language processing out of the Texas Center for the Study of Reading. And William Tunmer studied educational psychology in reading development and difficulties at the University of Illinois and then also at Wellington, New Zealand. So, together, their simple view of reading defines reading comprehension as the interaction between and the multiplication of word recognition and language comprehension. So, from this view, reading development is closely tied to how the brain learns, which leads to an emphasis on explicit, systematic instruction in foundational skills, such as phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. In this model, instruction is carefully sequenced, and assessment is used to guide instructional decisions with the goal of producing reliable instructional impact. They also highly support the use of high quality instructional materials, and ongoing training and support for teachers is highly emphasized. Another perspective model method is often described as balanced literacy, also referred to as comprehensive or responsive literacy. And it's most commonly associated with the work of Irene Fountas, who is currently the director of Reading Recovery and Literacy Collaborative at Lesley University in Boston, and Gay Sue Pinnell, who is professor emerita in the School of Teaching and Learning at The Ohio State University. She's also a member of the Reading Hall of Fame, who researched language, function, and classroom-based instruction. Fountas and Pinnell released their first classroom instructional text in 1996 based on the work of Dr. Mari Clay, who was a developmental psychologist and educational researcher based out of Auckland, New Zealand, dating back to 1967. This approach, the balanced, comprehensive, responsive literacy approach, is grounded in constructivist and sociocultural theories of learning. So, reading is defined primarily as a message getting, problem solving activity that increases with power and flexibility the more it is practiced. So, instruction emphasizes authentic reading experiences, responsive teaching, using strategic activity as instructional drivers, and learning as socially constructed. And then meaning, engagement, and interaction with texts and others are central to how students develop as readers in this model. Instructional decisions are guided by assessment and observation. They do promote the use of high quality literature that match the interests and developmental needs of students, and they absolutely support the ongoing professional learning of teachers. While structured literacy and balanced, comprehensive, responsive literacy are often framed as opposites, my experience suggests that understanding both offers a more complete picture of literacy development. So, what if we draw from practices associated with each depending on student needs? What if we apply explicit instruction with clarity and structure while also inviting reading experiences that support the social construction of knowledge? What if we allowed students to deepen meaning, apply skills, and build independence sequentially with differentiation as needed? In practice, effective instruction often involves navigating between structure and responsiveness rather than choosing one over the other. These differences matter, but they can also complement one another when viewed as lenses rather than labels. I am not presenting a solution or a claim of certainty here. What I am offering is an effort to clarify, not simplify, and to acknowledge that in order to support diverse learners, We often have to understand multiple perspectives on how learning happens and draw from those perspectives in a very thoughtful and professional way. So by reducing polarization and focusing on our shared goals, we are better educators. We can make better decisions as policymakers and as leaders as they inform the decisions that we need to have access to related to literacy instruction. Understanding both perspectives and utilizing them when our students need us does not weaken practice. It strengthens it. This has been a calm moment, making sense of literacy without the noise.